Superhero TV has delivered some of the most ambitious storytelling on the small screen, but not every great show quite managed perfection. Some Marvel and DC series start with incredible promise, only to stumble just shy of being a superhero TV masterpiece. These aren't failures by any stretch, they're beloved favorites that reached for greatness and very nearly grabbed it. Even when these shows faltered, they frequently delivered iconic episodes, performances, and innovations that shaped the entire genre. Many viewers still passionately defend them because their highs were that good. Yet whether it was messy finales, dragging seasons, or awkward production challenges, each had something holding it back from true TV immortality. Titans, 2018. Titans had an incredible superhero foundation from the start. It offered a darker, grittier take on the Teen Titans built around compelling character arcs for Nightwing, Starfire, and Raven. The sleek action sequences and character chemistry hinted at a nearly perfect live-action adaptation of the beloved team. However, the show frequently struggled with pacing and narrative focus. Characters would disappear for long stretches, and entire arcs felt rushed or abandoned. Titans constantly teased greatness but rarely maintained momentum long enough to reach it. With more consistent writing and better season structure, Titans could have been DC's ultimate team show. Instead, uneven execution and scattered plotlines kept it just shy of superhero TV excellence. Nevertheless, it's a thrilling and mature take on characters often relegated to children's adaptations. Heroes, 2006. The first season of Heroes remains one of television's most thrilling superhero stories. It was suspenseful, full of intriguing mysteries, and brimming with fascinating powers. It introduced an ensemble that audiences immediately connected with and proved original superhero shows could succeed without comic book IP. However, Heroes' ambitions became its own weakness. Later seasons ballooned with new characters, slowed the pace too far, and stretched cliffhanger past the point of excitement. Storylines meandered without payoff, and the show lost the tight focus that made it special. Heroes was so close to being a long-running masterpiece. Had it maintained the urgency and cohesion of its early storytelling, it could have defined the genre for a decade. Instead, it stalled out in frustrating fashion, collapsing under the weight of its own ambition. Agents of SHIELD, 2013. Agents of SHIELD evolved from a generic MCU tie-in into an incredibly creative sci-fi epic. Characters like Coulson, Daisy, and Fitzsimmons became fan favorites thanks to emotional arcs and bold late-season storytelling. When the show hit big, it really hit big. Still, not all seasons were created equal. The series' need to react to MCU films, especially early on, created awkward narrative stalls. Tonal shifts between spy drama, cosmic adventure, and time travel epic sometimes felt disjointed. While most of these were brilliant, they weren't entirely cohesive. Agents of SHIELD achieved greatness many times. Unfortunately, the uneven road to get there held it back from a consistent 10/10 score. A bit more focus might have made it the definitive MCU show. Hawkeye, 2021. Hawkeye had several great ideas working for it. It boasted street-level Christmas action, Clint Barton finally receiving emotional depth, and Haley Steinfeld's scene-stealing debut as Kate Bishop. The grounded tone and Archer-focused fights were refreshing within the MCU's multiverse madness. However, the series often felt like a transition tool more than a story with its own purpose. The pacing dragged, and some key plotlines, like the thrilling Kingpin twist and resultant MCU rivalry, arrived late and undercooked. Hawkeye felt largely like it only existed to introduce the next generation's Hawkeye while retiring the original. Hawkeye was a fun MCU team-up, but it didn't really have much to offer. With more narrative conviction and stronger emotional stakes, it could have hit its mark. Instead, viewers were left with something tremendously entertaining yet was ultimately forgettable. Superman and Lois, 2021. Superman and Lois began with real emotional power. It explored Clark Kent's identity as a father while still delivering cinematic superhero spectacle. This offered a different kind of superhero series and focused on an aspect of Clark Kent's life not often explored in Superman adaptations. While respected the Man of Steel mythos, it grounded him effectively in relatable family struggles. Unfortunately, the show gradually overcomplicated itself. It introduced too many villains, had numerous shifting arcs, and big twists that didn't always land. Superman and Lois's strongest moments were intimate character interactions, not multiversal crises. It's incredibly close to greatness, but an occasional identity crisis keeps it from fully cementing itself as the definitive Superman TV story. The heart is there, the focus isn't always. The Flash, 2014, the CW courtesy Everett Collection. The Flash delivered one of the strongest first seasons in superhero TV. Barry's optimism, the emotional father-son storyline, and the reverse Flash twist were executed nearly flawlessly. It cemented Grant Gustin as the greatest live-action Flash and quickly became one of the most popular shows in the CW's Arrowverse. However, as time went on, the Flash became quite repetitive. Speedster villain after speedster villain, constant time travel resets, and stretched-out arcs dragged down its once sharp storytelling. Cast chemistry remained strong, but the writing lost all sense of urgency. With a shorter run and tighter plotting, the Flash could have stayed lightning in a bottle. Instead, the spark dimmed and quietly fizzled. While still celebrated for its masterful depiction of the beloved speedster, it ultimately left a legacy of highs and lows. Smallville, 2001. Smallville achieved something ambitious, a decade-long pre-Superman epic that explored Clark Kent's formative years with emotional depth and iconic characters like Lex Luthor. At its peak, it was extraordinary television. It managed to deftly combine superhero action with heartfelt teen drama, truly exploring the childhood that turned Clark Kent into the Man of Steel. Unfortunately, its 217-episode run included plenty of filler. Villain of the Week stories and occasional narrative stalling slowed the march toward Clark's destiny. While there were many great arcs, Smallville sometimes drowned in forgettable ones. When Smallville soared, it truly soared. Trimming weaker episodes and accelerating major developments could have made it a near-perfect Superman journey. While in many ways these clunky episodes have some charm and nostalgic factor, they hampered Smallville's true potential.